Okay, next question is from eMoney, and he's been listening closely to the Money Guy show, I think, based on this question. He says, what can I do in my 20s to make the messy middle less messy? Should I get all my retirement savings out of the way by saving 50+%? Or should I build up my brokerage so I can access the money for a home or cars, etc., whatever comes up? I was like, wow, we may have scared him a little bit with our messy middle talk.
All right. So I'm going to give you the truth.
Give the definition of the messy middle first.
So the messy middle is this season of life that you enter into. And most people enter into it sometime in their mid to late 20s. And it lasts probably until your early to mid 40s. That's kind of what we are defining as the messy middle.
And what are you short on?
And what you have is you have thousands of commitments. You got things pulling you in tons of different directions, and you have very little disposable income, and you have even less disposable time. So you feel like you are absolutely strained every second of every day. Amen, Reeves? Is that right?
It's true.
That's what the messy middle is.
It is true.
And so here's the cold water. No matter how much you prepare, the messy middle is still going to be messy. So what I encourage people to do is do the best that you can. I have people ask all the time, hey, my spouse and I were thinking about having a kid. What can we do to get ready for parenthood? And I say, like, psychologically, nothing. Because no matter how much you prepare, no matter how much you think about it, it's going to be messy and it's going to be hard and it's going to be amazing and awesome and wonderful. But the messy middle is going to be messy because there are a lot of folks who live and exist in the messy middle. And they've solved the money problem. Like, the money is not what is the issue, and yet their middle is still messy. Or there are folks who, they've got plenty of time, they've solved that, but their middle is still messy. And so you have to kind of go into it recognizing that this stage and season of life is not necessarily supposed to be easy. Now, it can be rich and wonderful and fulfilling and rewarding, but it's probably going to be one of the hardest seasons that you come through. So what you should focus on in your 20s is doing all the things you know you're supposed to be doing, working through the financial order of operations. Brian, can you hold the thing up? Make sure that you're not skipping steps. Don't start running up credit card debt to try to subsidize your lifestyle. Don't skip on doing an emergency reserve. Don't let your lifestyle creep without funding your Roths and your HSAs. If you're doing those sorts of things as you enter into the messy middle, you're going to give yourself a foundation to build off of when life starts to get crazy.
So messy middle, short on time, short on money. Obviously, you have more money, takes out half of that problem. So that, I think you could do that if you're saving. Just make sure you don't miss out on the 20s because you're overthinking how bad it's going to be in the messy middle. Because look, we say it all the time. We live in Nashville, so we sound more and more like country stars, just from being here. Is that the days are long, but I promise you the years are short. Don't be scared of it, because this is the sweetness of life, is that a lot of times the things that that you struggle through turn out to be those blossoming memories that you look back on with such fondness that you're like, why was I so worried about that? The time part of it, I think that's just a natural thing. I look back on when I first started my career, some of my first clients were actually friends and peers. And I remember some of them were all having kids at the same time. And some of them stacked kids really close. What do they call those, spring babies or spring twins?
Irish twins.
But I had one of my clients, the husband, they're still clients. And I can remember she would call me in just tears about these two little ones that she had, and just breaking her down. And now these kids are in college, and so this too will pass. But if you're not even in that, don't worry about that stuff. Just find, what I would encourage you to do is, if you're like, because a lot of the messy middle is family oriented type stuff and commitments, make sure you get that part right. Because I am one that I love children. I think it's a very valuable thing, but if you don't have the right partner, it can get tough even after the kids are gone. So just make sure you're spending time thinking that you get the right person. Don't do it off of just the infatuation of how attracted you are. That's important, don't get me wrong, but also make sure there's some substance beyond that. And if you can measure twice, cut once on the right partner, and you're saving ahead of time, and you're a naturally organized person, I think you'll handle the messy middle perfectly fine. And even if you don't, you'll be okay, because those, like I said, those years are short.